All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to
Yeah,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahweh
Yahweh
Shai,
Shai,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Rakakwadash.
Rakadash.
Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. All right, that taught us this truth, and Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right, the Akim and the Akwaf scattered around the four corners of the planet Earth. I'm the brother Arak, and I got the brother Thashai
Shalom.
with me. We are part of GMS Dallas. All right, and we're just chopping it up through the spirit, and wanted to do a lesson. All right, wanted to do a lesson, and I'll entitle the lesson "The Necessity of Judgment." All right, the necessity of judgment, and I did have an opening precept, but we have some precepts that we want to go into to basically elaborate on that idea. You know what I'm saying? And Lord's willing, it's edifying. And like all these virtual epistles, like all these lessons, this is only for the elect. This is only for the remnant, and we don't know if we're of the elect. All right, we're of the hopeful elect. All right, and when you read the scriptures, one of the prerequisites or one of the indicators of those chosen vessels is that they would be sighing and crying. All right, and the reason that we sighing and crying is because just look at the world around you, man. Look at the hell, man. We're in a worst case scenario. As the elder, the elder from Mysteries of the Kingdom, GMS Birmingham, like he always says, we're in a worst case fucking scenario, man. Is it cool if I start with this Psalms 89? Okay, kind. This is Psalms chapter 89, and I'm gonna read verse 14 to 15. It says, "Justice and judgment are the habitation of thy throne. Mercy and truth shall go before thy face." All right, so justice and judgment are the habitation of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's throne. All right, and if you niggas, man, were in your right mind, okay, that would be something that's appealing to you. Okay, but again, we know 2/3 of our people, we know most of our people, they don't actually give a damn about justice and judgment. Only thing they care about is living it up here in Babylon the Great. All right, and basically uh handshaking and hugging with the heathen.
Yeah, especially Esau.
Especially Esau.
Yeah.
That's our people's primary concern. They're not worried about history. They're not worried about Esau, Edom, the powers to be. I get in divine retribution, right? Payback, right? Because the scriptures do talk about recompense.
Yep.
When you talk about the word recompense, it literally means payback when you break it down.
You can pull that in that First Thessalonians 1:6 as well. Just magnify on that point.
Con, you mind grabbing it? I was gonna read verse 15. This is Psalms 89 and 15. It says, "Blessed is the people that know the joyful sound." All right, and the joyful sound is this good news, this gospel, the true gospel. All right, when you read Revelation 14, right, it talks about the angel, all right, having that gospel, the true gospel. All right, when you go into the true gospel, right, Isaiah 61, for example, all right, is a good chapter that outlines that. It talks about how the captives are going to be released, and there's going to be recompense, man. All right, that's a part of the joyful sound, knowing that our enemies are going to be paid back. Okay, but let me finish this, and then you got it out. It says, "Blessed is the people that know the joyful sound; they shall walk, O Lord, in the light of thy countenance." But that's the point. You know what I'm saying? I just want to open up with that.
And we're gonna walk, in front of how about Shemel Shai, giving praises and honor and glory to him for the beautiful act that he has done. Especially with going after the heathen for their mistreatment of his elect. But I'm gonna pull this right here in this Second Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 6. It says, "Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Yahweh Shai to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. All right. That means that Yahweh Shemel Shai isn't uh, uh, in favor of the world around Israel. He's only for Israel and the world of Israel. All right. And I say it like that because it's a separation and a distinction of exactly how Yahweh Shemel Shai is thinking. All right. He doesn't mind. Uh, well, he doesn't care about the other nations. He doesn't care about the heathen nations. He only cares about his elect.
Yep. You might read the next two verses on that.
Done. It says, "And to you who are troubled, rest with us when Yahweh Shemel Shai shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not Yahweh, and that obey not the gospel of uh, our Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach." All right, because only the elect is minding the things of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Everybody else is going their own way, or they are heathen, and it wasn't for them to grasp from the beginning.
Yep.
All right. So you got it.
Yep. That was a heavy point in verse 8, right? In flaming fire, taking vengeance. So that's what you people have to look forward to, man. The people who are outside of this circle, the people that don't receive mercy from Yahweh Shemel Shai, and we pray we receive mercy. But that's what's in store for those who don't make the cut: fire and vengeance.
Yeah, because the first baptism was of water.
Yep.
The second baptism is of fire. And that comes from Yahweh Shemel Shai. Through the thermonuclear missiles, on top of the chariots. All right, shooting those laser beams.
Gun. You want me to go to Revelation 6?
Baba Shah.
This is Revelation chapter 6 and verse 9. And I know you want the point of verse 10.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start at verse 9. It says, "And when he had opened the fifth seal," and Salakia, the header of this is the fifth seal, and then it says martyrs. It says, "When he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of Yahweh Shemel Shah and for the testimony which they held."
Because the elect that's toiling into the thing of ours, is going to hold the truth unto death. All right. They're not going to be slapped. 10 toes down.
Can I get some real quick?
This
is Revelation 19:10. It says, "And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Worship him, for the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy." So our testimony is really the same testimony as Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai passed the torch to the apostles, or to the disciples who became apostles. And he passed the torch again through the Spirit all the way up until these times now. Okay, with the elders and apostles on down.
Because we're not doing anything great by ourselves. We are in the same lockstep and barrel as Yahweh Shemel Shai himself. All right.
Yep. We're an extension. We're just an extension of him. Like the scriptures, like in Yahweh Shai to the hand.
Yeah.
Your hand is connected to your arm, which is connected to the rest of your body. So it's all connected, man.
Connected to your shoulder, which is connected to your back. All right, which in usually boxing, one jab, you're getting power all the way from your toe. So it is the whole body,
Yep.
that is in one motion.
Yep. This is Revelation 6 and verse 10.
Oh, for sure.
It says, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth?
You know, and this is the elect. You know, the elect is crying out unto Yahweh Shemel Shai, because they were seeing the wickedness while they were down here. You know, now they are with Yahweh Shemel Shai, wanting to go back and get their brother. You know, asking him to speed up the times. You know, begging and pleading. You know, for those that were left behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because all this is Yahweh Shemel Shai's movie, okay, and you know this is that period of time that you know he's speeding up the times, he's hastening the times.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I got a preset real quick. This is Matthew chapter 10 and verse 17. I'm sorry, verse 16. It says, Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. All right. Basically going into, Yahweh Shai preparing the mind of his disciples, letting them know the various things that they're going to experience and go through being a follower of him. Verse 17, it says, But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in the synagogues, and ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. All right, and I'm just bringing that out to link it up with that Revelation 6 and 10, because as we read the subheader of those verses, it said martyrs, right? Some brothers are gonna be martyrs, and some brothers are also going to be delivered, though. Some brothers are also going to be saved, but either way that it goes, all right, you're going to receive that, like, every brother's going to be avenged.
Yeah,
like Yahweh Shemel Shai is the king, called the king of terrors for a reason, man.
Yeah. Babu Shah, pull that word martyr. You know, because from what I'm understanding, what the word means is like um uh, uh it can be twofold, where you know the Most High can take you out of a position of difficulty, you know, but
it says I just hit the Google, and it says martyr. This is on Britannica. It says martyr, one who voluntarily suffers death rather than deny their religion by words or deeds.
So the brothers that have to go through that, all right, they willingly lay down their life.
Yep.
Willingly.
Yep.
You know, I would rather fall into the hands of Yahweh Shemel Shai than the hands of man upon this earth.
Yep.
All right, because Yahweh Shemel Shai is full of mercy. You know, Esau has not a merciful bone in his body.
Yep.
You know, so
even Yahweh Shai said that. He said in John 10 and 15, as the Father knoweth me, even so I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And he repeats himself again in verse 17. He says, therefore doth my Father love me, because I lay down my life that I might take it again. And that's the spirit that we were emulating.
Yeah. And what's that precept where it says, blessed is the man that lays down his life for his friends? Because I would rather lay down my life for my brothers in this truth than to die a meaningless death in this society.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if you're dying a meaningless death, you're wandering out. So like you're wandering into the way of the dead. You know, and not walking faithfully in the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can be living like that's a hard saying for Jake. Because you can be living and be dead.
Yep.
But you can be dead, but you kept your life though.
Yep.
You know, like the Lord what's that precept? He who loveth his life shall lose it.
You know, he that keep his life for my name's sake.
Yep.
What's your paraphrasing?
I gotta get it now. It's like John 12:25 is one verse. It says, "He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal."
Life eternal. Yeah.
So I'll read the rest of this.
Oh, for sure.
It says, "Martyr, one who voluntarily suffers death rather than deny their religion by words or deeds. Such action is afforded special, institutionalized recognition in most major religions of the world. The term may also refer to anyone who sacrifices their life or something of great value for the sake of principle."
You know, and that's going to be instilled whenever the MOTB comes out. You know, because it's going to be a choice. Either you lay your life down for this truth, or you receive Esau's mark.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what's that? What manner of man are ye to be in our holy conversation and godliness? You know, because you will be put to the test. That's what this whole thing is about. You know, being in this truth now, you know, it's to gear you up for that test to come.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we will see who will stand stiffly for Yahweh Shemel Shai. Yep. All right. Yep. But Bible Shai, you got
kind. I'm gonna read verse 10 again, and it says, "And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them." And if I may, white represents victory.
Victory.
Purity. You know what I'm saying? But you got to look at it like that. Like if you have to go out, that's how you got to go out. You really got the dub.
Yeah.
You got the dub, man.
You got the victory. You have submitted your place and been in the pinnacle of the kingdom. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. You are going to be the one sitting at the table drinking with Yahweh Shemel Shai. Mm-hmm. Okay, because you, Salakia, let me say it like this: you have submitted your legacy, so your kids in the kingdom is going to hear about your marvelous act that you did on this side.
Right.
All right, and that's a joy. All right? Your story is cemented in stone. Yep. You know, really it's cemented in gold.
Yep. If I may, we brought that out kind of in camp last night when the scripture is going to laying up your treasures in heaven.
Boom.
That's really what that means, what the brother's saying. Laying up your treasures in heaven where moth and dust and moth can't, and dust can't corrupt. You know, the Satan can't take away, you standing stiffly, man. You martyring, that's gonna stick with you.
And that's what the brothers at the officers camp was going into as well, because whenever you do that, that's a spiritual thing. All right, that's not carnal. Esau can afflict the carnality in today's society.
Yeah,
but the spirit, he doesn't have any choice. He has to accept what comes. All right, and that's something that Yahweh Shemel Shai instilled into the elect. But
yep.
Salaki.
Yep.
You got it.
I mean, that was pretty much. Did you just want verse 10 on that?
Yeah.
I have that as Isaiah 41 as well.
Read.
Read the last verse again.
Read the Isaiah 41.
Mm-hmm.
Just so I can make sure.
What verse did you want?
10.
This is Isaiah chapter 41. And you mind if I start just a little bit up?
Yeah.
This is Isaiah chapter 41 and verse 8. It says, "But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. Thou, whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, Thou art my servant. I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away."
You know, so I can break that down.
Con, I can speak on it.
Yep.
Con, this is Isaiah chapter 41 and verse 8. It says, "But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend." All right. And that lets you know that the only seed of Abraham that really mattered was Isaac and then Jacob. Because we know that Abraham had many children.
He had 8 sons.
Right. You know, so this scripture is literally isolating a particular group of people.
Yeah.
Lineage. Yep. And then he goes into even more specificity.
Yeah. he's putting a magnifying glass on him.
Yep. He's putting the scope on it.
Yeah.
Verse 9, it says, "Thou whom I have taken from the ends of the earth," right? First Peter 1:1, James 1:1, the diaspora.
Yep.
Okay, Deuteronomy 28. Okay. It says, "And called thee from the chief men thereof," all right, "and said unto thee, Thou art my servant," right? Because the elect, the men that the Lord is calling in these times, it makes me think about that 2 Ezra 1, right, where it goes into how, the Lord was going to bring back, all right, all those men of renown throughout the scriptures, right? Hosea, Isaiah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's 2 Ezra 7.
Yeah.
And that makes me think of that Ecclesiastes chapter 40, 44. Now let us praise famous men.
Right. Yep.
Because Yahweh Shemi Shai has always had a particular group that the Israel of Israel, the elect of the elect.
Yep. Galatians 6 and 7, I think that is.
And I think it's in that 2 Ezra as well.
Yep. And then Isaiah 1, "I shall raise up thy judges," is at the first.
Yep.
And
the first was what? The Alahayim. So it's just everything being repeated, but they're being very specific, on who they're bringing out.
Yep. Isaiah 41 and 9, it says, "Thou whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, Thou art my servant. I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away." Verse 10, "Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy power. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness."
And that right hand is Yahweh Shai. And so all this to say is that Yahweh Shemi Shai is on your side through this. Okay. Even though some might have horrific ends, but that was written, and it was written how you would take it, and it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Shai. Don't think that you're going through something, because you're dying as a wicked, as an evildoer, because through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Shai, that was to show the remnant, like, yeah, he went through all that, but he still got the victory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, so just like now, we're going through our daily lives, catching hell, catching hell on a whole different level. You know, and in some brothers' walks, you know, other brothers couldn't handle it. Other brothers couldn't handle it, but it was specifically made for him. You know.
Yeah. I got a closer.
You got it, Bob.
This is Jeremiah 30:10-11.
Yeah.
It says, "Therefore fear not, O my servant, saith the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel. For lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity," right? Which is here in America, right? Babylon the Great. Okay. It says, "And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid." But this is the point of verse 11.
Yeah.
It says, "For I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee, though I will make a full end of all the nations whither I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee." And that just ties back to the title of the lesson, which is the necessity of judgment. All right. Things need to get dark, man. Things are about to get dark. Okay. Babylon the Great is finna go out with a bang, man. All right. But it's a beautiful thing. Okay. I'm gonna finish out the verse. It says, "But I will correct thee in measure and will not leave thee altogether unpunished." You know, so like we opened up with, justice and judgment are the habitation of thy throne. All right. We're getting ready to watch that play out. You know, the establishment of the kingdom is synonymous with major judgment going forth. For everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
all this has to be flipped. You know, because it's not right side up yet. You know, and whatever how about Shai exacts his judgment, everything's gonna go back to what the way that it was. You know, back in the garden.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. That's it. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Gone. Hey, well, Lord's willing, this lesson was edifying. With that, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Bakakudash. Double honors again to the elders and apostles of GMS that taught us this truth. And shalom to the next lesson.
Shalom and shalom.